so-called Negro community has shocked the white man by resisting all efforts to divide us. I think that you and I should continue to shock him by staying and working together in unity, despite religious, political, economic, or educational or social differences.
My people are terrified. We've been terrorized to the point that we're mentally and spiritually paralyzed. We suffered through centuries of dehumanization and degradation. It took the form of slavery and segregation in this land of the free, where oppression's government sanctioned. We're subjected to systemic skin color discrimination, from black codes to Jim Crow to black criminalization. It's been 400 years, it's time for our liberation. We're a nation within a nation, victims of colonization. Where's our revolution and Independence Day celebration? Cause what's the 4th of July to the slave on the plantation? And slavery didn't end, they just changed its implementation. Just check the 13th Amendment, then you'll see why so many black males end up as guilty defendants. The system isn't broken, it's working as it's intended. So I'm not here to fix it, I'm here to end it.
And then again, if we tell you that Negroes are being hung on the tree or being shot down illegally, unjustly, and those Negroes should do something to protect themselves, you say you're advocating violence.
I won't rest till this nightmare we're living in ends, and we see justice for our murdered young innocent men. If black lives really matter, black people need the proof. Cause we are the only ones responsible for our improvement. How can we leave it to someone else to do what's best for us, especially when there's someone else has historically been oppressing us? We can't use a system built to enslave us to free us, and we really sick if we think that they white Jesus can heal us. Our children need us to defend them, teach them and guide them, show them love and bring out the greatness that is deep inside them. Are we gonna build a nation or stay on the plantation? Keep begging for our freedom or fight for our liberation?
When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, he didn't say get nonviolent. He said praise the Lord, but pass the ammunition.
We must be willing to die together or we'll definitely die separately. We desperately need unity if liberation is our destiny. If we don't know our history, then we doomed to repeat it. White supremacy is the enemy, but together we can defeat it. They stole us from the motherland, sold us into slavery, forced us to work for them. They got the nerve to call us lazy. In this caste system, we're outcasts, still treated as second class. But I can feel it in the air, revolutions in the forecast. We came for greatness, but they don't want us to know. So they hid our history to keep us under control. All it takes is to take a stand. The enemy's not invincible, but we must come together as one nation indivisible.
20 million black people don't even know their own language. Why? Because he took it away from them. 20 million black people who don't even know the history of their ancestors. Why? Because he took it away from them. And if you're trying to tell them how thoroughly and completely they've been robbed, he says you're teaching hate. That's something to think about. Today you are coming out of college. You're coming out of the leading university. You're trying to go in a good direction, but you don't know which direction to go in.
Okay, family. So we have to review this clip of this brother speaking here. And the brother, he's going to be addressing some real issues as far as like the racial dynamics between like black people and the Hispanic community. But we're going to have to touch on a couple of things in this video. So I want y'all to pay very close attention to what's said as we break this down.
Stack. Some of the essays is prejudice, man. You know what I'm saying? Just some of them is like, you know, they feel some type of way, man. You know what I'm saying? There's probably some black people that feel some type of way, but for the most part, it's a lot of essays and Mexicans that really can't stand blacks, man. And they real disrespectful. I'm seeing them all in the comments, not on the live, but in the comments on my channel, in the DMs and all, like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all really disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? And y'all be the main ones hollering that respect shit, but really y'all disrespectful. On 40 Crip y'all is. And the only reason why that y'all like that, because y'all know all y'all people's gonna ride. You feel me? Period, point blank. Y'all gonna kick up dust. Because on the one-on-one tip and all that, you niggas ain't nothing. You niggas can't fight. You niggas ain't got no type of nothing. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so stop right there. All right. So now, speaking as a Southern black man from Georgia, this is one of the problems that I and others down here in the South, in Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, places like that South, a lot of us take issue with our brothers and sisters calling these other groups niggas, this, that, the third, because see, this is the problem, right? One of the biggest things that led to the disrespect that we get from these buffer class groups who are classified as white, there are no brown people. The problem is it started with us allowing them to do that through our music, hip hop. Okay. And we understand the dynamics of places like New York, where you have some better relations between, you know, Puerto Ricans and black people to a certain extent. However, when you start allowing them to use that word towards you, you set yourself up for disrespect. Now, I understand why the brother was saying it that way, but that's something that all black men should cut out. We don't play that shit down here in the South. There is no condition under which a non-black person can come up to us and say, nigga. I'm going to tell you like this. Even if you are our brothers and sisters from the Caribbean and continental African nations, you better be careful saying that to us. Okay? I mean, that's where it starts. You have to make sure that as far as your culture is concerned, you make sure people respect you. So let's listen to what else the brother has to say. I just wanted to make sure I highlight that part because that's very important.
And that's just what it is, keeping it a stack. Fuck a nigga being taller, bigger, and all that. Y'all can't fight. There's some of y'all that can fight. Like some that's named Boxer and all that. You gonna run into essays named Boxers. Obviously, them niggas might know how to fight or something or whatever. But for the most part, y'all can't fight. Y'all can't. Y'all don't know how to fight. You ain't got no, y'all don't got no squabbles. You feel me? That's why y'all play with the hammers up in there and shit. And it's cool, because ain't no rules in fighting. But when you sit back and you act like, you know, like y'all higher than and all that with y'all disrespectful comments, then, you know, I got to call y'all on that, because the truth of the matter is, y'all can't fuck with the blacks, straight up. We not even nowhere near structured up and together like how y'all is. They not going to even allow the blacks to even get together like that and to even look like they even got some type of structure. They going to take us down.
Let's stop right there. Okay. What the brother is saying, it is correct when we look at history. Anytime that we organize in groups that have a leader, they all always target us. We've seen that countless times. There's too many brothers to name, whether it was Martin Luther King, Brother Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, Fred Hampton, whoever you want to name. We see that in history. However, here's the correct mindset to have on that, brothers and sisters. We don't allow that to make us get into a mentality where we start talking about, well, they're not going to let us do anything. If you are an oppressed people like us, the first thing you need to do is make up your mind that you are going to put yourself in an empowered and protected state. And that does require sacrifice. If you stay bound into a state of fear, as if, OK, we can't do this or that, because if we try it, they just going to stop us. Nah, to hell with that. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. You think about all the non-constructive things we risk and sacrifice for before we come into certain amounts of knowledge. Okay, we're willing to put it all on the line for that. So that's one thing that I take issue with when brothers or sisters start talking that way. But let's continue here and see what the brother's saying.
Wherever the person is controlling that shit and running that shit and trying to get blacks together, they about to take them down. They not even finna let us get it together because we a threat. We're a threat to each other and we're a threat to everybody out here, especially if we come together like this. I'm talking about all blacks. You know what I'm saying? So when I get on my page and I'm speaking for my people and all that, I'm doing the same thing that y'all doing, speaking for y'all people. So don't try to, you know what I'm saying, get at me sideways because I'm speaking on my people. I'm going to speak for my people and I'm going to speak up for my people at all the time. And that's just what it is.
Okay, now, here's the other issue that I have with what the brother was saying. And respect to this brother, because let's be clear. You need brothers like him that have done bids and understand the streets to come together with on code brothers that don't have that background and work together for the empowerment and protection of the community. Oftentimes, you know, we see in these online spaces where you get to talking about people like with these archetypes, Pookies and Ray Rays, just for sake of argument. Here's the thing. If a brother has done his time, and as long as it's no crime where you were messing with kids or nothing like that, you don't look down on that brother. You work with them, and whatever you have as far as like being a black person that's more successful, if they have an ideal or a program, they may lack the startup capital to do that. You combine your talents together, his ideas with your expertise and business connections. That's how you get things done. But when it starts, he starts mentioning what he's trying to do as far as getting his message out. With any of us that's speaking up for our people, we don't need to be in an apologetic state or explanation state towards these people. There's nothing for us to be in like an explanatory mindset as far as like anything that we're trying to do for the protection and empowerment of our people. That's not up for the debate. We don't even need to come across sounding that way. OK, so that's one thing I want to point out. But let's continue.
We're going to be respectful with it, but I'm going to speak on mine. You know what I'm saying?
Stop right there. The proper mindset for a black man that's seeking the empowerment and protection of his people. I have to say that again. We don't say, OK, we're going to be respectful with it when you clearly see that you're being disrespectful. The proper mindset to have is I'm going to match whatever energy you display towards me and my people. That's the line in the sand that we have to draw as black men. Let's continue.
I can't speak on a Mexican heritage and what y'all do, what y'all don't do, and all this. I can't speak on that, bro. I only can speak as a black man, and that's just what it's going to be at all times. You feel me? And it's crazy because black people, we are the most forgiving people. We are some nice people, man. You know what I'm saying? But we more ignorant and mean and disrespectful to each other than another race.
Let's deal with that. He's absolutely right. We are a forgiving people towards everybody else except for our own. That is a big problem in our community, and that is off code as hell. OK, that's something that we're going to have to stop. We always have forgiveness for other groups that historically have proven that they don't give a damn about us. They don't reciprocate that spirit towards us at all. OK, so he's very right on that. He's very right on that. That's something that we all have to work towards ourselves to change and make sure that, OK, if you're going to have forgiveness for any community, it should start at home. Let's continue.
The crazy part. I'm not saying be disrespectful to another race and all that old shit, but we more like that against each other. You know what I'm saying? The attention need to be somewhere else, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's straight like what it is, man. But I'm finna light my blunt up. Y'all get on up in here.
Pause right there. Y'all know I got to do it. I already know some of you potheads are going to be offended, but let's deal with this, man. We got to deal with this right now. Y'all going to do what you want to do. You grown. But every time that we're trying to address something important, I felt like, OK, if that's what this brother does, leave that part out, man. Leave that part out, bro. The last thing any of us need to be is incoherent or in a state where we cannot be, where we can recognize threats around us. Because, I mean, that, you know, Some people will argue down that, you know what I'm saying, hey, it doesn't affect me this or that way. The bottom line is anything that slows your cognitive ability, anything that slows down your ability to react to things, we really don't need to make a habit of that. So I wish he would have left that part out. Okay, I already know a lot of y'all, you know, hey, you love the weed, you got to have it. But in war, think about it. Which is it better to have, a clear mind or a mind that's like not coherent? And don't get me wrong, I understand that a lot of our people out here, we're in a lot of pain and a lot of trauma. And look at all the hell that we've been through. So some people that don't know how to manage that pain or that trauma, the only thing they know to do is to get high, okay, or get drunk, or any other amount of reckless, non-constructive behavior. Brothers and sisters, I want to give you this bit of information. If you don't get anything else from this video today, I want you to take this with you. When you are dealing with something, any type of hardship, trauma, or anything that causes you any amount of grief, make sure that the habit that you have is a constructive habit, not a non-constructive one. Let it be something where it adds to your health, your wisdom, or helping your community. Sometimes the best way to deal with something is to pour yourself into helping others. A lot of people don't understand that, especially selfish people. You pour yourself into helping others, okay? So always make sure whether it's exercise for some people, it might be going fishing for another, it might be reading a book for another. There's many constructive ways to help deal with or manage any type of situation of pain that you're going through. We got to get out of turning towards getting high, getting drunk, and other non-constructive behavior, because in the long run, what you'll be doing is creating a bigger problem for yourself. And we need every soldier in our unit that we can get towards the protection and empowerment of our people. Let's continue.
A lot of people up in here, man, y'all already know. Hit the subscribe button. Yeah, hit the subscribe button, like button. Y'all already know I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I ain't really into that shit, but you know, this tiger situation has really awoke the bear, man. It really, you know what I'm saying, brought a lot of shit to the forefront. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to go ahead and say it to any Southsider that's on this live right now. If you're a Southsider, just tell me if I'm lying. Keep it a stack. This ain't trying to smut y'all up or none of that. But from my knowledge, from me being in and out of prison, in and out of jail, the Southsiders, they was able to get on a witness stand and tell on a black person and not be looked at as a snitch by their people. Maybe certain people when they car probably was like, oh, that fool's a rat and all that. But for the most part, they really made that okay for a Mexican to tell on a black person in court.
Let's analyze that. He's absolutely right. Understand something, for any of you Negroes running around out here talking about black and brown, any damn thing, the first thing you need to realize is the greater majority of these so-called brown people classify themselves as white on their identification and paperwork. They play that game with you when it's politically convenient. But like this brother is speaking about here, when it's in situations where you go behind bars or you on the streets dealing with these people, they're going to be the first one to give you up because they don't see you as a part of their community. You the only one buying the black and brown bullshit. Y'all better get that shit through y'all head, man. And I'm speaking primarily to the black men that want to go date their women. You better understand she gonna ride for her community first. I'm speaking to sisters that want to go and hop over there and get with these essays or what have you. You better understand that he gonna ride for his community first. Just like Neely Fuller Jr. taught us, you better understand something about these buffer class groups that are classified as white here in this country. Like Neely Fuller says, when it comes to sexual engagement between a black person and a white person, that white person don't get out of bed confused. These buffer class groups imitate that behavior, and they don't get out of bed confused about what they need to do for their community. You be the only one thinking that it's some type of black and brown alliance or what have you. But let's continue.
Now, if you think I'm lying, tell me I'm lying and correct me. But anybody that's been going to jail as far as blacks, and some of the essays, they probably ain't gonna just keep it real said. They know it. You know what I'm saying? They had the green light to get on the witness stand and tell on a black person, man, on the real, and would not be looked at as a rat because they was looking at it as like a war tactic to get more blacks out of jail, out the way, and all that. That's one. Two, Mexicans in certain areas, they strike up NK. That's what Mexicans strike up. Some places they strike up NK. Hawthorne, they strike up NK. We just seen NK on Slauson and like on Slauson on the freeway. They struck it up on the wall. NK real big. You know what I'm saying? Certain places in Compton, the Mexicans, they write NK. So y'all explain to me what's going on, because if it's not a racial war and they won with a black gang, why they not just putting that black gang crossing it out? They not doing that. They putting NK, which is nigga killer. You don't see no black gangs nowhere in California putting MK, Mexican killer.
Let's examine some of this, what he said right here. Understand something. Dr. Francis Chris Wilson has told our community. Dr. Claude Anderson has told our community. Neely Fuller Jr. has told our community. Your race in America is your team. Your race in this country, in the United States of America, is your team in every facet of society. I'm talking from the streets to legitimate. Everything revolves around race in this country. So for those of you that want to go and date outside of the community and you forget that, you are the one putting yourself at risk. Everybody else understands that except you. What this brother is saying, he's absolutely correct as far as like how they get down on the West Coast over there, because his brother's from California. For those of you that can't tell, okay, they know that at the end of the day, no matter what's going on, to put their race, their people first, okay, and they identify with the white supremacist, anti-black, racist, dominant society. They do, but let's continue.
Or 13K, nowhere. So. Who's the disrespectful race? Who's the disrespectful people? Us or y'all? Because y'all get on here and y'all fat mouth and y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all talking about no reparations and all that. Like that sounds like a white man. Like what black person or Mexican will say out loud, outwardly, that the blacks or Mexicans shouldn't get no type of reparations for the shit that the United States and the governments put their whole culture through?
Stop right there. This is the part that I have a big problem with. The brother just stated how they are disrespectful towards us and they practice anti-black racism towards us. So the last fucking thing any of us, any black man or any person should be doing is talking about the situation between us as if there is a black and brown coalition. You know what the truth is. So for him to go into what he's about to say here, as far as talking about how could Mexicans be against reparations for what happened to us and them. First of all, there is no us and them. Let's get that through your head. There is no us and them. They are over there dealing with their people. We are dealing with ours, and I can prove it. When you hear them say black and brown, show me the Mexican, Hispanic, whatever you want to call them. Show me the Latino community's politicians that say, hey, we just got something for our people. What about the black people? Okay, it's brown and black and brown. Let's make sure we bring our black brothers over here into these economic policies. Let's make sure that anytime something happens to them, we go and ride for them the way some of us would have always historically stood up for them and other groups in this country that were not allowed to come here until our ancestors and elders fought for that right for them to do so. There is no us and them. There is no us and them. I wish that brother would just sit and realize what he said is contradicting itself in that sense, because they're not for us at all. When somebody show you who they are, you believe them, family. But let's continue.
Like that's something that I expect to come from a white man or from the government, not from a black person or from a Mexican.
What you got to understand is, brother, they identify as white. Historically, for any of you listening to this, look up the Hispanic organization called LULAC. Look that organization up. In fact, I'm gonna include some of that information in this video so that you all can have a point of reference for that. But let's continue.
And when you say that, you know what I'm saying, you lose me right there, because everything that you're trying to pump fake, that shit is not going. Nigga, this ain't about money and all that. It's about United States and the government acknowledging what they did to the black culture. Stripping us of our language, stripping us of our culture, stripping us of our homeland, wherever we came from, stripping us from everything. And they still stripping us right now today. Right now today. The black man is America's most number one enemy. You ain't gotta believe me. You ain't gotta like it, nigga. It is what it is. Like I said, I got a P number, not a we number. You feel me? I've been all through the county jail, Wayside. I've been to 10 different prisons. You feel me? I've been to New Delano. I've been to Ironwood. I've been to Hatchetby 4A, 4B. I've been to Corcoran twice, level 4. I've been to Wasco. I've been to regular Delano and New Delano 180. You feel me? I've been to Chino. I've been to Lancaster twice. I've been to Ironwood. So I've been around to a few places, bro.
Let's examine what he just touched on as far as like him being incarcerated. This is something that I want brothers and sisters to understand, okay? Because his brother's heart is in the right place. Let's be clear on that. His heart is in the right place because he's seeing things and he's speaking out about it. We have to make sure that brothers like this, if you have any type of community outreach program that you're putting together, these are the brothers that you need to go and get first because they seen everything it is for them to see, and they can reach the youth out here in ways that you couldn't if you haven't had those experiences. So none of us should ever look down on these brothers. All of us have a part to play in the protection and empowerment of our people and the education of our people that leads to our empowerment. But let's continue.
And I'm gonna say something about Gunner's Collective. I be watching some of his shit. You know, he joke around and clown around and all that. Maybe that's his get out and all that. But I really feel like he be on a low disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? You know, he clowning with everything. And for me to see a Southside and a North thing on a live together talking and all that shit is crazy. It's crazy as fuck. I'm for peace. I'm not against peace. But at the same time, I'm a black man that been in the system and I know how the messengers operate. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you something, black people. The North Things and the South Side, they got like a low-key ceasefire to where they not really beefing and shit. And when they sew all that shit up together, where they all be like one, blacks, you going to have to get your shit together because we really going to be behind the 8 ball. We're going to keep it.
So everything that the brother just stated in the closing of that clip, he's absolutely right. Other groups know when to put their differences aside and get on code and work together for a common interest. OK, and we've seen it. We've seen it with the Bloods and Crips over there on the West Coast, you know, and in different areas of the nation. We do know how to do that. The problem is we need to learn how to sustain that, because let's be clear. If you black in America, I don't care whether you wealthy or you poor. We don't have the luxury of working against our own people. That's why a coon is such a despicable thing. We don't have that luxury. Other groups that are in economically, advantageous positions above us, they do have that luxury, especially if you're white. OK, you can do whatever you want in this country. You're white. We see that. On white and I say so is the law of the land, common law anyway. But when it comes to us having differences amongst one another, we have to learn how to focus on the greater goal at hand and put that crap to the side. OK, and see, here's the thing. When you start to look at any black people that have disagreements amongst one another, I always say if a black person hasn't cost you blood or money, then what's your real issue with that brother or sister? OK, if they haven't cost you blood or money, what's your real issue with that brother or sister? Everything else outside of that can be worked out. OK, for the most part, it can. And see, in this country right now, we don't have time to play these games, because all these other buffer class groups, when these idiot Biden sexuals voted that bastard Jim Crow Joe in office, that opened the floodgates. Before, all we had to deal with was white supremacy. We could deal with that. We understand what that is. But then when you put all these other buffer class groups in here on top of us, and they've been empowering them left and right with executive orders and economic policies, any Biden sexual that is stupid enough to be talking about vote blue no matter who has lost their damn mind. Now, that doesn't mean automatically flip over and vote for Republicans, because here's the thing about that. A lot of people were talking about doing a protest vote, right? Let me ask you a question. if you're trying to correct bad behavior, which is the benign neglect policy and malevolent neglect at this point, but if you're trying to correct bad behavior, you can't do the same thing and get different results with another party. You make them come to the table with tangible policies specifically for us. And then you say, okay, we can talk about you getting my vote. And I say talk about, because we need to make sure that, okay, you know what I want. I've told you what I want. So now before you get my vote, you need to bring me proof of concept. That means I'm going to need you to go ahead and enact some policy before I give you my vote. You're going to need to bring something into the table in good faith. We're going to need to examine it, make sure there's no trick bag language, and then we'll talk about you getting my vote from here on this. And we need to consistently repeat that process. It should never be we're just loyal to one party or the other because they did something for us once or twice. You got to keep doing things for our community because we're the most owed. OK, so family, as I get ready to close this, I want you all to reflect on this video and what was stated in it. Share it with other people. Black first. And I'll see you all in future.